Don't go anywhere. It is time for TWIG. All right, what's up? Welcome to the Weekend Geek. I am Nerd Pastor Nate, the pastor here at Checkpoint Church. This is our weekly geekly news show. Normally, we would try to have a level 2 member on, but since we do not have that today, we are going to be doing a swolo, just me, having a good time talking about all the wonderful things. But the good news about this show is even whenever it's just me, it's still everybody else too, because we're going to continue engaging with the chat and asking questions and talking about the news as it happens. This is an interactive news show that we do every single Thursday on our Wake with Nate stream over here on twitch.tv/checkpointchurch. So the first question I want to ask the chat to answer is our usual welcoming question. What did you watch, play, or read this past weekend? What did you watch? What did you play? What did you read this past weekend? What did you actually engage with? And what kind of materials did you get to enjoy in that way? I finished the game Paranormasight, which I recommend to anybody that likes horror games, that likes visual novels. If you like spooky reading, if you like reading spooky things, then I think you would enjoy it. I really enjoyed it, and I liked the fourth wall breaking. The ending of the story was kind of just okay, but the journey forward was really fun. I don't think I really watched anything. I'm trying to rack my brain about what I might have watched, but I don't think I watched anything this weekend. We really had a pretty busy weekend, and so I didn't have a ton of time. And then what did I read? I am still reading Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow, and hoo boy, has that story given me a real turn. It is a sad story. I was not expecting the tragedy that it was, but it's a tragedy. And I love it. I'm here for it. I'm enjoying it even more the more sad that it's gotten, but it's definitely been like a weird, unexpected story for a bunch of video game developers. Shellnet says, I spend a lot of time on history documentaries, social justice, but I always play Dragon Mania and Farmville 3 for just brainless entertainment. I was hoping for brainless entertainment from Terra Nil, but I found out that I can't download it on my phone, and I'm really sad about it. Tattoo Lover says, speaking of cool stuff, I played at Target last week in the demo version, of the new Legend of Zelda game. They still do demos? They still do demos? That's incredible. Now I kind of want to go to the Target. The game will come out this May. Oh, I'm very excited about it. Yes, I know all about Tears of the Kingdom. I had no idea they had demos at Target still. That's super cool. I remember going to the Kmart. Did you guys have Kmart? I went to the Kmart and played a ton of Nintendo GameCube games. I think I never actually owned Super Mario Sunshine, but I played Super Mario Sunshine every single week. We would go to the Kmart, and I would go to the kiosk and play that. Let's see. Sneaky says, playing Miles Morales Spider-Man, working on your backlog, watching John Wick Chapter 3, and reading so many books. John Wick is great. We'll be talking more about John Wick in a little bit of our nerdy sermon this upcoming Sunday, so that's an exciting little spoiler tag, #spoiler, that we'll go over in our schedule that's coming up soon. But yes, we're going to be doing John Wick as our Sunday sermon this Sunday, and so it's a great series, an exciting thing to discuss. So that's cool. Very cool. Well, continue typing in the chat if you get here late. So what did you watch? What did you read? What did you play? And I would love to hear more about it. Shellnet says, I played that stuff at Sears back when the Nomad was around, Sega Nomad and the Virtual Boy. Mine was definitely GameCube. GameCube was the kiosk console for whatever reason. I won't be doing any spoilers for John Wick 4. No worries about that, Sneaky. It's more of an element of John Wick than anything else that I'll be discussing. Okay. On to our first news story of the week. The first headline is that Multiversus is shutting down. Sort of. For those of you that missed the Multiversus launch, they launched an open beta quite a while ago, not introducing a ton of new characters, but definitely diving in deep to this wacky cast of Warner Brothers characters in a Smash Brothers-like fighting experience. And they definitely were just fine taking your money during that open beta. They definitely allowed people to buy character packs and to buy different things to unlock certain things. But now they're just shutting it down until 2024. They want to take it from beta to an actual game. They still want to keep the free-to-play model with the buy-ins, but they're for some reason choosing to, instead of work on it behind the scenes and just kind of push patches and updates, I think they want to take it and completely refresh the paint. They want to take it back to the shop and release it whenever it's done. So an interesting call for Multiversus to make, but it's totally their call. It is an open beta, and so they get to do this thing. Anybody that's upset about it, it's valid if you want to be upset. They're not offering on your, games as service experience that you had during the beta. But It's just kind of the way it is. In this like world of patches and pushing games before they're done, this is just kind of the reality. Hopefully they got the data that they need to make this game excellent. I know that it's pretty wacky of an experience, and I never actually got around to playing it. So maybe whenever they release in full, I'll actually get around to playing it this time. Okay. With that, let's see, we have a thought from Cam there. I feel like if they're going to do a temporary shutdown, that's super weird. Like, I would get no updates for the future until launch, but making it so you can play or can't play is strange. It is a weird call. It's a weird call. By the way, catching up with chat, let's see. Sneaky is enjoying Miles Morales. Shellnet played the original Nintendo, but we had it home, but didn't play it out as much. Cam says, watch, play, read, playing Chia and Magic the Gathering, watching Mandalorian, Bad Batch, and Clone Wars, and reading. You finished Living Resistance by Caitlin Curtis last night for book club. Rock on. Okay, next news story is Twitter. Twitter is now making it so that you have to be verified to be featured on the For You page. So for those of you that aren't familiar with Twitter's breakdown, they took a lead of TikTok not too long ago and made it so that you have a curated For You feed, and then you have your following feed. So For You would still allow you to find new voices, new people to follow, so that you can continue to get to know people, whereas following would be people that you found and followed. You're still going to be able to be found on a following page. If somebody follows you, they can still see your tweets. But if people do not follow you, it doesn't matter how viral your tweet goes, it will not be found on the For You page. This is another attempt by Musk, supposedly, to eliminate bots, but for me, I think it's probably just another call for trying to make this market marketable. So I will not be paying for Twitter. It's not a subscription that I'm not trying to hustle there. I don't have any desire for it. If you want to follow me on Twitter to see my random tweets, great. But ever since I kind of discovered that my analytics on Twitter aren't exactly what I thought, and I'm really reaching like 70 people, I really don't care. It's kind of just my diary in a way. I go to Twitter to like just mind vomit, and then that's all that I do there. No real concern over whether or not we reach people. It does mean that Checkpoint Church might need to pay, but for now, we're not going to do anything there. Second tweet on it was that it was basically bots are actually fine as long as they pay us. 100%. He did respond, and to his first tweet, he said, this is to eliminate bots. And then his second tweet said, unless your bot is verified, at which point it's all good. So weird choice. I know Musk is certainly not the most popular figure right now. I'm not a big fan myself, but it's a weird thing. A very weird thing. Why I'm not verified on Twitter or Instagram or Facebook or Twitch and YouTube, I like the free versions of the websites. I totally get that. Totally get that. Okay. Also, they're going to be limiting voting. So you can no longer vote in polls. Don't know why I'm chugging all of a sudden. You also cannot vote in polls if you are not verified. So weird choices, weird random things. Not sure what they're doing. Not sure what's going on there, but you know, we'll continue to see the crumble of Twitter. Hopefully, eventually, we'll get a new CEO because Musk has already said that he plans on stepping down from that CEO position of so much power. And hopefully, when that happens, all will get a little bit better on Twitter. I have no intention of going anywhere because I still really enjoy Twitter. And I've followed a pretty massive amount of people. And so I'm pretty content just staying on my followed feed. Shouldn't be a big deal. Okay. Next piece of news. PlayStation Plus games were announced for this month of April. The 3 games that you're going to be able to get for free with your PS Plus subscription are Meet Your Maker, which is a pretty interesting new game that I really don't know much about. I've seen the trailer and it didn't make any more sense to me, so we'll see what goes on with that trailer. Second one is Sackboy: A Big Adventure, another Sackboy game. If you've never played Sackboy games, they're excellent platformers. And then Tales of Iron, which I also know nothing about. So that would be 3 interesting games. I don't think any of them are quite on the level of Chia for me, but Meet Your Maker is supposedly the real highlight of that because it is a day 1 release coming out directly to PS5, PS4, and you're getting it as a part of your PS Plus. Pretty big deal. Let me know what you think about either of those games, and I know that Cam says Sackboy is a ton of fun. It's a great game. Great game. Next piece of news. I will not be talking any further about Tears of the Kingdom because I did not watch the 10-minute gameplay because I really want this game to be a pretty big surprise to me. I really don't want to know how it plays. Don't really want to know much about it. I really just want to experience the game in and of itself because I really love Breath of the Wild. But I did think it was cool to look at the Tears of the Kingdom SWOLED that was teased, and I think pre-orders are already available for. So if you want a SWOLED that's got the super cool Tears of the Kingdom stuff, there you go. That's what it looks like. Neat. Quick news story there. In less exciting news, Final Fantasy VII has officially announced an NFT line of trading cards coming from Square Enix. For some reason, Square Enix refuses to let go of NFTs, even though pretty much everyone else already has. Basically, you'll be able to buy a pack for $3.30 in which you will get 6 cards that you will be able to trade. I have no love for the NFT market or the NFT world, but it is what it is, and hopefully Square Enix doesn't kill these franchises with all of this nonsense, because I personally love Final Fantasy as a franchise. You can't deny Final Fantasy VII's pervasiveness in culture, but NFTs are kind of dying, and I'm surprised they're going forward with it. Next news story. Ba-bam. E3 2023 has officially had more gaming conglomerates remove themselves from the event. Still not sure why I'm encoding so weird. Well, whatever. Regardless, E3 has had more gaming conglomerates pull out of their event this year. Sega and Tencent both decided not to be there. Pretty big deal that both of these have pulled out. I think E3 probably needs to rebrand itself and figure out something else. Maybe they need to adopt indies. Just saying, because indies are the people that need the promotion, clearly. They're the ones that can't afford to put on their own event. So hopefully E3 will take a shift in the future and focus on just indies. That's my personal bias there, because I happen to be a big fan of indie games, and I would love to see them actually have some success, and I think E3 would be a good way to do that. Next up, the D&D Direct happened this past week over on YouTube. Whole lot of stuff to go over. I'm just going to highlight some of the things that are most exciting to me. The fact that Minecraft is getting a DLC for Dungeons & Dragons is pretty neat. We got to take another look at Honor Among Thieves, which let me know if you're going to go see that this weekend. Let's see. What else was there that I found super interesting? We got a good look at the next wave of cards, including some of the crossover cards with the movie. Got a good look at the new digital play space, which you can go find a trailer for. You can actually find that over on our Discord. And then there's going to be a 50-year anniversary. I'm very interested, a documentary, that is. I'm very interested to see how much they talk about Gary Gygax, if at all, because I did not know Gary Gygax really was like a part of I knew Gary Gygax was like one of the creators, but ever since becoming good friends with Derek White and all the wonderful people over at GaryCon, I learned just how influential his presence was and how much it feels like he's really just been ousted from the narrative. So weird, but it is what it is, and hopefully we'll get some more good news about Gary Gygax soon. Digital Play Space will be interesting, says Cam. I hope that pans out as well as it looks really cool if it does not cost an arm and a leg. I think it's weird how quickly people immediately bought back on Dungeons & Dragons, because there was some weirdness, right, with the announcement of, what was it, 03 or something like that? I can't remember what it was called, but where they tried to kind of pin down on their copyright. And so they really, OGL, yeah. Whenever they tried to do that, that really wasn't that long ago, and it feels like people just immediately kind of forgot just because they retracted. But they still tried to do that. So it's kind of a weird move, but I'm glad that they seem to have people back on their side, and hopefully they will continue to take that trust that their community has and use it wisely. Sneaky says, I would love to go see Honor Among Thieves this weekend, crossing my fingers that I'll get to go. That's how I feel about movies just in general. I need streaming movies to come back. I miss that. That's the one thing. I don't miss much about pandemic times, but that is one thing that I miss, is just being able to watch whatever movie whenever I want to. That was a nice perk. Okay. With that, we're going to move on from all of our news for the week and move into the Discord. These are all the submitted pieces of news that you all provided to us via Discord or via our link. If you ever want to submit news to us, bit.ly/DearTwig. That is how we will get access to the news that you think is important. And if your news is important to us, then it could get featured on the show. So be sure to submit your news there to bit.ly/DearTwig. And we look forward to hearing from you there. These are some of the highlights of the week. The first one is on behalf of Sneaky Pigs and Trombone Dalek, who both submitted the same article about Appa and Momo. Somebody created a life-size Appa and Momo from Avatar: The Last Airbender to be able to ride. The video is great. Watching the man ride on Appa is pretty funny, but it looks great. It's interesting to me that that's something that somebody would choose to do. It almost reminds me of like a float for a parade. But this was a cool little news story. Not really much more to it, but it's just neat to kind of take cosplay to that kind of level and creation. Next up, submitted by Splash Force, was that Mobius is going to be in Deadpool 3, which probably reveals more about Deadpool 3 than they really thought it would. I think people are already piecing too much together about Deadpool 3, but of course with Cable's inclusion into the universe, we should have known that time travel was going to become a thing. And when time travel becomes a thing, well, Mobius has got to get involved. So it all makes sense and adds up. and it'll be interesting to see how everything goes with that. Next up is from Boish, and this is just an alleged thing that isn't necessarily at this point, but Disney has definitely eliminated 7,000 jobs, and reportedly among those jobs was the 50-person team handling Disney Metaverse. So they have officially ixnayed on Disney Metaverse. I personally would be surprised if this turns up to be exactly true. I think maybe it could be a purge with the intention of rebranding, recreating, and doing it again. I don't think the Metaverse is going anywhere, and I think it would be silly of Disney not to take this more seriously and ensure that they're continuing their presence in the Metaverse. So I'm no big fan of like the Metaverse in general. I think that it's got its shortcomings and it's got its faults, but if mega corporations like Disney are pulling out, then I think that's probably a mistake, because they're going to be the ones kind of shaping the future with all of the buco dolores they have. So we'll see what happens with that and what continues to go on as these tech layoffs continue to kind of plague the innovative technology world. Okay, with that, it's time for everybody's favorite segment of the show. Oh, wait. Don't forget to submit news to bit.ly/DearTwig. bit.ly/DearTwig to let us know what news you want to have featured on the show. Now it's time for everybody's favorite part of the show. At this point in nerd history. This is where we go back in time and find out what movies, TV shows, events, things happened on March 30th throughout history. So what are some things that happened throughout time that we wanted to talk about? This is actually kind of a boring day. There wasn't much that happened. There were some pretty big highlights, but for the most part, it was hard to find things that actually happened. In 2011, some of you may remember this, some of you may not. It depends on how much time you spend on Flash games, but there was a tower defense game featuring Pokemon that released on Newgrounds in 2011 on this day. The game Contact, which is kind of a niche indie title, I think it was by Suda51. Might be by Suda51. It might be somebody that was like very similar to Suda51. Released in 2006 on the Nintendo DS. That was one of my first games that I had for the Nintendo DS, and I had no idea how it worked or how to play it, and I got very frustrated with it because I didn't understand what I was doing. 2004, Resident Evil Outbreak came out for the PS2, which I purely remember because of that title. I never got very far in Outbreak, but I did remember that Resident Evil Outbreak. For some reason, that sticks in my head. And it's in there. Thanks for your lurk, Sneaky. That was 2004. 1996, the original Resident Evil dropped on the PlayStation in the United States, today in history. In 1989, the video game Afterburner 2, not the first Afterburner, but Afterburner 2, launched on the Nintendo Entertainment System in Japan. So those are the games that were released at this point in history. Let's move on to movies. Two big movies, one kind of considered a flop and the other considered obviously one of the most successful movies of all time. In 2018, Ready Player One, the movie adaptation by Steven Spielberg of the famous book by Ernest Cline. Ernest Cline? No. Ernest Cline is The Martian. Ernest Cline? No. Who wrote Ready Player One? Was it Ernest Cline? Who wrote The Martian? Oh my goodness. Hang on, I gotta look it up. Yes, Ernest Cline. I was right. Who wrote The Martian then? Andy Weir. Okay. Yes, Ernest Cline. The adaptation of the book by Ernest Cline by Steven Spielberg in 2018. That was kind of notoriously okay by all fans and kind of revealed to us maybe some of the shortcomings of the book. And in 1999, one of the biggest movies of all time, The Matrix, was released. So pretty huge movie titles. And then just some random ones. These aren't really movies. These aren't really books. These aren't really video games. They're just kind of somewhere in between. In 1993, Charlie Brown hit his first home run in a Peanuts comic strip. So very first time that Charlie Brown ever actually hit the ball and got a home run, 1993. 1964, as we'll talk about soon, Jeopardy debuted on NBC TV today. And then in 1939, the comic book Detective Comics number 27 appeared on newsstands and introduced a just minor character known as Batman. With that, you have been fed your At This Point in Nerd History. Thank you so much for being here, folks. Next up, we're going to move on to our upcoming releases. These are things happening this upcoming week. So everything coming out from today until Wednesday that I thought was worth talking about, we're going to go over here real quick. We'll start with movies. Some of the movies coming out this week. First off, this weekend and tomorrow is the movie A Good Person with Morgan Freeman will be dropping tomorrow. Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves will also be dropping tomorrow. And Murder Mystery 2, the Jennifer Aniston, Adam Sandler hit will be coming out tomorrow. And then, of course, the made for Apple TV movie Tetris will be dropping tomorrow. One Day as a Lion, don't know what that's about, but that'll be coming out next week on the 4th. I think that's, gosh, what's his name? J.K. Simmons. So I like J.K. Simmons. If you like him as an actor, then I think maybe that'll be Oscar bait. We'll see how good that is. And then on the 5th, of course, everybody's most excited and most hyped for movie of the year, Super Mario Brothers movie will be coming out on the 5th. I plan on taking my daughter, hopefully that night. We'll see if I can convince my wife to let us stay up that late. But I'm so excited to go see that movie and really, really amped about what it's going to be. Okay, with that, we're going to move on to, well, before we do that, I'll read your comment, Tattoo Lover. I need stream advice. I was thinking of showing random Wikipedia articles to people on a stream today. Do you think people would come? It kind of depends. I think it depends on how you, if you get people enticed with what you're going to be looking at, then probably so. What I find a lot of people enjoy doing is playing the Wikipedia game. If you've never played that, that's a good time. So you could always do that as well, or even like play that to start and then play that to end. But basically the gist is you start on a random web. Well, no, you don't even necessarily. You get to search one thing, but you have to, in as few searches as possible, find something. So you can come up with an actor or something, or you could come up with a specific word or specific idea and try to find that without actually searching for it. Watching the Super Mario Brothers movie on Netflix after it comes out later this year. Is it coming to Netflix? I hadn't even heard that. I fully intend on seeing it in theaters because I'm just too hyped about it, and I think my daughter will love it. With that, let's look at games coming out this week. Coming out today, today is a big day for games, if you didn't know. And really, April is going to be a humongous month for games. We got a lot of exciting stuff happening. Starting out with today, Anurith, the Queen's Tyranny comes out today on PC. Don't know anything about that. Bat Boy, which looks like a kind of Super Meat Boy platforming-esque experience, comes out today. Dredge, which hopefully we'll be playing here in just a little bit. We'll see that happening soon. Plasma, which is kind of a sandbox game, will be coming to PC today. Ravenbound, don't know anything about that, coming to PC today. Supplice, don't know anything about that, coming out today. The Great War Western Front, a World War II game, coming out today. And Vertigo 2, if you played the original Vertigo on VR, will be dropping today on VR stores. Tomorrow, Charlie Chuck's Food Fight Replicades are going to be coming out. If you don't know what a replicade is, that's what you see in the Walmart, where you see like a random Miss Pac-Man that you could put together in a box. They're going to be making one of those that is Charlie Chuck's Food Fight, officially releasing tomorrow. So if that's one of your favorite arcade games, you can get a 1/6 model arcade game version of. Also, Formula Retro Racing World Tour, which is a remake of the original Formula Racing World Tour, will be coming out tomorrow. Next week, on the 4th, we have Meet Your Maker, which is the game that I told you people are pretty excited about coming to PlayStation Plus. So if you're down to clown with Meet Your Maker, which I still know nothing about the actual game itself, that is going to be coming out on the 4th of next week. Road 96 Mile Zero, the prequel to Road 96, which is one of my favorite games of the year. You should absolutely play it if you like narrative gaming. We'll be dropping on the 4th, telling the story of what happened before the story in that game. The Game of Fortune comes out on PC on the 4th. Looks kind of like a Danganronpa-esque attempt at a murder mystery. I will probably give it a shot if it gets good reviews. If it doesn't get good reviews, then I'll probably sleep on this one. I really like the murder mysteries, obviously, but sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad. But if this is a good one, I'll definitely be playing it. Movie House, which is a tycoon sim about making a movie theater, will be coming out on the 5th, and Terrascape will be coming out on the 5th on PC. Those are your upcoming releases for the next week. I hope that you'll let me know which of those stand out to you. What are you most excited about? What are you most interested in playing, watching, or experiencing in the next week? Did I miss anything that you're hyped about and looking forward to that's coming out? I'd love to know if I missed any exciting titles that we should know about. With that, we're going to end this show as we always do with our meme of the week. This is our meme of this week. It's a little tiny, isn't it? I'll zoom in for us a little bit. Psychology Today released an article that says millions of adults delay going to sleep at night, staying up later than intended, even though they know the consequences. Here's what the research finds when me time goes past bedtime. And then James Fell responded and said, okay, fine, I'll go to bed. Trombone Dalek shared this one, and that's why it's getting shared today. It had the most reactions over on our Memes and Goofs channel on our Discord. It is a good one, hilarious, and Trombone felt attacked. Which, didn't we all of us, all of our nerd hearts felt very attacked by this one, and how not going to sleep. I'm not ending. Thank you for catching Twig. Know that this has been Nerd Pastoring to Checkpoint Church, and we believe 3 things to be true about every single one of you, regardless of whether or not you go to church, don't go to church, believe in God, don't believe in God, hate the church, hate God. None of those things change these 3 things that we believe to be true about every single one of you watching this. Number 1, that God loves you, like really, really loves you. Number 2, we love you. We want community with you. And number 3, that you, yes, you matter. You are a person of sacred worth. The world is a better place. Why? Because you are in it. Folks, with that, until the next time that I see ya, bye-bye!